Okay, carrying on from where we left off. So let's keep making some changes to this. So I realized there's supposed to be more or less like looking at the silhouette of this image. There's still quite a few or a lot of things that we can do to kind of make this feel a bit better. For example, for the thumb, you can see how this region is and the gap in between here. Also, another thing to take account of is how the finger kind of tapers. You can see how it's kind of slimmer on the edge and a bit wider at the bottom part. So we're not going to have that kind of taper shape in there. So let's fix that up. Let me start by fixing this part. So with the move brush, just more or less like push this outward a bit more, like so. Okay. I'm just gonna have a better transition around here. This part should be a bit straighter. So let me just kind of get something in here like this and smooth that out. Also add more fleshiness around the around this part. Like so. Now increase the smooth brush and just smooth that down. Okay. The frontal part is kind of there. You just need to do a bit more fixing around some other parts also, just to get that to feel a bit better. Let me flesh this out even more around here. Okay. Yeah, it feels a bit much better now. Flesh this part out. Smooth this in. I'm gonna capture the bone in here. I'm majorly even looking at my hand to kind of recreate this, because which better reference to use than your own hands. Okay, I'll just smooth this out just to have a kind of like indentation around here, like so. I need to do the same for each and every one of these fingers, but before I do that, you kind of make sure the top part kind of tapers in. Like so. I would need to kind of make the hand feel a bit more squarish. Use the move tool to kind of get this to feel a bit better. And just smooth that in. I think I had this. I believe I have this on a different. Let me check the wire. Let me just check the poly frame on this. Okay, I don't have. I'm going to kind of mark this out and give this a separate. I'm kind of mark this out and give this a separate poly group. Ctrl W to give that a separate poly group. mark this part out also, separate poly group. Yeah, I think all of this should be fine. This should be fine. Let me erase that out. Let me just give this a different poly group also, just to make this feel a bit more consistent. Yeah, much better now. Okay. So I'll just kind of move this like so, just make it kind of taper in there. So I'm going to use that. We are still on the move brush. I'll just move this down like so, this down like so. Kind of get an indentation around there, maybe a bit more like so. Something like this should be fine. Okay. We obviously need to give this a bit more pose to it, but we'll do that. Let's just kind of get the general proportion of this in place first. Yeah, so I think so. I can see some pattern I need to fix now. So with the clay builder brush, let me just build something up in here. And smooth that out. Yeah, something like this should be fine. Okay. Like I said, we need to kind of make this feel a bit more squarish. It should feel a bit more squarish, at least especially on the sides. Then we need to kind of fix some of this in here also. So I'll just use the trim dynamic brush. And just kind of get something like so. And on this side also. So I'll just kind of flatten this out a bit more. Maybe this feels a bit too much though, but we'll see. So let me just smooth this out. Yeah, this should be fine. It should be fine. Also going to compensate for it later on. Maybe while we're here, we can just compensate for it so you don't come back here again. So I'll just kind of fill this part up. This is more or less like where the knuckles should be. If I should, let me look for a reference for it. You can see the knuckles in here. So more or less something like this shape around here, or the shape around here for the knuckles. So this part should be a bit extended, out a bit more. So I'm just going to slightly fill that part out in here also, but the middle part should be a bit more. I think I've gone. The middle part should be a bit more. So the middle part should be a bit more. So let me just check this from an angle like so. And this should be the side of the hand. So this is like the middle part. So I'm just going to extend this out a bit more. Something like so should be fine. And I'll just smooth this down. Maybe take down the smooth brush, intensity of the smooth brush. Something like this. Maybe this feels a bit too aggressive though, so I'll just dial that down. I'll just smooth most of this out like so. So from a distance, kind of have this kind of bumpiness in there. We're also going to use our then standard brush, kind of carve out that wrinkle detailing in there before kind of posing it a bit. Something like this should be fine. Maybe I over extended it. Let's see the other reference we have in here. Okay, I think I should be a bit down. Should be a bit down here, not really up here, since this is like the index finger. So I need to kind of smooth this out. Let me smooth this out. Then I'll just extend this other part out a bit more. Something like so should be fine. And remember, you should kind of taper in at the top. Just kind of taper in at the top. And extend this out like so. Just a little bit like so. That should be fine. Okay. So I'm going to move on to the next finger now. Maybe smooth this down a bit more. I'm just going to repeat the same process for the next finger. So let's bring everything back out. You can see how this one looks a bit better in shape compared to the other ones now. So let's kind of replicate what we just did now to the other parts of the arm, or the fingers rather. So I'll need to push this guy down a bit more like so. Let's go to this one. Let's kind of repeat the same thing. I'm kind of using this reference as a guide to kind of do this. So first things first, I kind of make it feel a bit more squarish on the sides. Using the trim dynamic brush, kind of make this feel more squarish. Maybe increase the brush size a bit more. Just do this a bit faster. So yeah, something like this should be fine. Then I'll just smooth that down. It shouldn't be that obvious, but should still be there. Then making sure it kind of tapers at the edge, which it does, which is fine. So then the knuckle part should be around this part and around this part also. So maybe I can use my move brush to, let's use the clay builder brush to kind of build that in on this side, somewhere around here, like so. Maybe on the other side also. Something like this should be fine. Okay. You can see the size now, it tapers out. So let me just use the move brush to kind of extend this out a bit more. Yeah, this should be fine. So it tapers at the edge like so. Then we can just, so let me use the clay builder brush and just make this a bit better than it is right now. And just move this out like so. Then with the clay builder brush, I'll just build on top of this a bit more. I think this should be fine. Yeah, something like this. I'm not going too heavy-handed on it anymore, so I'm just going light-handed on this. Then and I'll just smooth this down. I still want to keep that knuckle shape in there, but I'm just going to smooth it down a bit more. Same here also. Just smooth this down with, I'm smoothing this down too aggressively, so just go light smoothing on this. Or something like this should be fine. So from a distance, we have something like this, which is kind of at least good enough. You can see how it tapers on at the edge, something like so. Maybe at the back, I'll just with the move tool, I'll just extend this out like so. Just a bit more like this should be fine. Maybe even here also a bit more like so. Okay, that's fine. So I'll go to the next finger now. And more or less just kind of repeat the same process. Maybe I can even push this. Maybe this one should be down a bit more. Just so I can extend this down like so. And it should be more of like an angle to it. if you look at, yes, it's a good example. It's a good example. You can see how this middle part is a bit extended out a bit more than this upper part. And you can see how it tapers. You can see how this letter structure of the fingers kind of tapers at the end. So more or less trying to recreate that, recreate the same thing. So let me just keep working on this. This is another reference image also. You can see how squarish the fingers themselves look like. Though we still need to kind of make some adjustment to this in the frontal part, but since we're at the back part, let's just keep working on this and just kind of make this feel good. So I will go to the next one now. I think it's kind of make an indentation around here. Yes, let me use the standard brush instead, and just holding Alt, do something like so around here. And just smooth them out, maybe with a more larger intensity. Okay, yeah, something like that should be fine. Okay, with the move brush, now this part needs to go inwards, like so, something like this. Then and push this in a bit more, something like so. The idea is just to kind of get the general proportions of the arm in there. And we can see, let me show you guys what I'm going to create next now. Let me see if I can find a better reference for it. If you can find a reference for it that better illustrates that. I can't really find something that's okay, somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. You can see this indentation in here. So let's try and recreate that. So that should be, if we should use this reference image already working with, it should be, that should be around here. So let's kind of see how that's, you can see I can just use, let me use the standard brush to kind of carve that in. Ish. Something like this should be fine. Then I'll just smooth that back down, like so. Maybe even a bit more. Just smooth this down. Something like this should be fine. So now let's carry on with this. So let me select this part now. This already feels a bit more squarish, which is exactly what we need. Just smooth this down. Maybe the smooth intensity just way too high now. Let me just take this down, like so. I like how this transitions at the end, at the edge, so I will just keep that. Maybe even more, but have a better, sharper angle to it on the edge. Maybe we use the trim dynamic brush to just do it instead. Now just smooth that out. Smooth this in also. Okay. Then making sure it kind of tapers at the edge. Maybe we can even extend this part out a bit more. Something somewhat like so. Then we can kind of block out the knuckles in there now. This one should be around here. Should be around here. Let's just kind of fill that up around it. Something like this should be, let me just check this from a distance. There's still a lot of things we need to do here, but we'll just keep blocking them in and refining them. And after some time, we should have something good enough. Okay, I think this is overly extended. Let me kind of blend this back down a bit more on the edge. Yeah, something like this. Checking this from a distance now, I think this feels a bit better. Okay, so let's go to the next one. See the same repetitive process around this. Let me just push this in. Kind of get this to taper at the edge. At the tip rather. Let me just make this taper at the tip. So around here. So let me just make this part feels uneven. So let me just use the move brush and kind of even this out like so. So that should be fine. And smooth this out. This part feels a bit rather odd. And this part feels overly extended. Let me just push this in. Yeah, something like so should be fine. Okay. Then let's just add the knuckles where they should be. Something around here should be. Just check this from a distance. You always want to kind of zoom out a bit more just to kind of see. Let me just smooth this out. So something like this should be fine. I've not even squared this out. Let me just get something like this in here. Okay. So something like this should be fine. Yeah, something more or less like here should be fine. And let's get something going for the thumb also. Kind of make this taper. Let me just smooth this down. I think I have. Let me just mark this. Let me mark this out. Something like this. I think I have to make sure double-sided is. Let me make sure double-sided is turned on for this. So I use display double-side. Okay. Then let's kind of get this to feel a bit much better. So just like the other ones, this is kind of taper. The top part is kind of taper, and this front part feels almost okay. But let's just kind of extend this out like so. Probably something like this should be fine. Extend this out even more. Extend this out even more. Kind of make it feel a bit like it's tilted. Then with the clay build-up brush, maybe fill this part out even more. Something more or less like so. Then the knuckle part should be around here, obviously around here. So let's kind of get that in place. So around here should be fine. And I'll just smooth this back down. Something like this should be fine. So let me bring everything back out now. Let's see what we have. Okay. Yeah, it's getting better now. I think this part feels a bit off. Let me just use the move brush to kind of get this to feel a bit better. Yeah, something like this should be fine. So now that I've kind of worked a bit more at the back, we can, I believe we can, let's go to the front now and kind of make this feel a bit better. This one needs to, let me fill this, blur this, and add some more fleshiness to this around here and smooth this out. Okay, so I saw a detail that we can actually implement in here. I'm seeing something here I need to adjust. I'm just kind of thin this out. So with the clear build-up brush, I'll just thin this part out like so. Get a better angle to it. Thin this part out and I'll just smooth this back down. Something like so. Here also smooth this out. Let me use, should probably even use the standard brush to kind of do something like so. Yeah, something like this should be fine. So I'm using the move brush, kind of get a better transition to it. Let me take down the size of the move brush, just to get a better transition to it. Something like so should be fine. I also need to have something similar. Something just did. No, we also need to have something similar in here also. So maybe I'll just use the Dem standard brush, holding Alt. Now that feels too aggressive. Let's see if there's a way to kind of get that in there. It's going to be tricky though. Let's see if we can block. Kind of move this. See if I can get something in there. Probably something like this. Just want to thin that part out. Okay. Let's see if we can get this at the back. We already have something in here that looks okay. Let's try the Dem. Let's even use Dem standard brush. Probably Dem standard brush will do a better job. Yes, isn't a better job for us. Yeah, something like this. There's quite a lot of detail going on in the fingers. Like if you don't pay close attention to it, you might not catch it. So I'm just trying to pay as close attention as possible to this to kind of capture those details in there. Those details that from a distance you might not really see it in there, but once you get a closer view to it, you actually see all of those in there. So you kind of see the separation around here. So let's kind of block out some of this separation we have in here. So with Dem standard brush, kind of block out something like this. This one should be somewhere like so. Then it cuts across like so. Like in here. We also have something in here. Also probably we need more fleshiness around here. Maybe we'll use the clay build-up brush and just build something around here. Like so. And just smooth that down. You can say I added kind of planar change to it around here, which is fine. Probably here we need to kind of dig this in here a bit more and smooth that out. Kind of get more fleshiness around here. Smooth this in also. Okay. The more breakups we add to this, the more better results we kind of see through this. I'm seeing something in here now. I can see this fleshiness around here. Let me kind of block that in for the thumb. Okay, something somewhere around there should be fine. Let me just quickly save my file before moving on.